Alright, today I'm looking at a knife by Extrema Ratio, Italian company. This is actually a knife I've seen poorly reviewed on YouTube. There's not very many knife reviews of this in English, probably because it's a European company, maybe a little more popular there. And the reviews I have seen have never really focused on information I find useful when it comes to making a decision about a knife. The fact that it's packaged well, yeah, that's great. Fantastic. They have a nice deep box. I don't really care about that. It is nice packaging. It's simple black, nice aesthetics. That does matter to me. But yeah, this is just going to be kind of looking at the first impressions, and then later on in the video we'll look at some tests, things that I think are useful when it comes to picking a pocket knife. So overall, this is the knife. It's got a pocket clip at the top. It's the BF1, obviously, as the title suggests. It's a sturdy knife. Feels, got a good weight to it. Once I open it up with the thumb clip, it's nice. It's quite a stiff opening, so keep that in mind. We've got made in Italy on one side, a bunch of other information, matte black, nicely sharpened blade. We'll look at the sharpness and stuff later. It's a modified drop point, so it's obviously useful. I like that in everyday carry knives. I think it's useful. But to be honest with you, only good first impressions. It's a solid piece of metal. It's obviously a slip lock. I would say one of the things that I was a little surprised at is it's relatively, it's quite precise. You have to be quite precise putting that shut, and then obviously it closes in. Can definitely try loosening this, which we'll do in the video to make it a little more easy to open. But it is a nice knife in hand. Has got a good feel to it, and I think it's attractive. It's nothing too big. It's 2.97 inches, so it'll pass every sub 3 inch law. I can carry a 3.5 inch knife here without any problems. But yeah, that's just kind of the first impressions of it. It's a nice piece of kit, matte black, and as I said, easy to open. We'll see how it kind of opens up over time. And as you can see, looks pretty centered to me. Again, not something I particularly care about. But yeah, it's a well-built piece of kit. Let's see how it does in some of the, chopping in comparison. Before we get to some of the cutting tests, just want to give you guys a little overview of other knives I've carried, so you can kind of get an idea where I'm coming from. This is one of the first kind of folders I picked up. Got a really nice crisp opening, the Applegate Fairbairn. Nice dagger point, quite aggressive profile, and obviously serrations, when you're younger, perhaps a little better. Less, the older you get, the more you know. So I'd say this is a good knife. I like carrying this knife around. I've lost the pocket clip over time. It springs open, so as a defensive tool, this is probably quicker to deploy than that one. But yeah, the build quality and such is it's not bad, but it's not great, and it's a rather martial aesthetic. So yeah, that's kind of why I stopped carrying that. Next knife I kind of messed around with, Spyderco. This is obviously one of their cheaper offerings. To be honest with you, not really keen on this kind of style of blade. It's a very fat belly for an EDC. Personally, some of the tasks I do, I don't really like it that much. Not a bad one to chuck in pants. I don't care if I lose this one, for example. Decent enough knife. I've taken this apart, put it back together. I gave one as a gift once. I took the scales off, sprayed them orange. The person liked orange, so that was something else I did. And relatively simple, but again, cheaper build quality. You're not going to get it compared to this. This is, feels a lot more weighty. I guess the only other high-end knife I really do carry is this little Almar, and this is the Hawk. And this is a lovely, beautiful knife. This is my gentleman folder. I think it's very elegant. Leaving it open. Definitely a little more elegant, and a fantastic knife. Great kind of sharp cutting blade. No one's going to give you questions about this one. So I really like this. Obviously it lacks a pocket clip and is very lightweight, so I haven't lost it, but it is easy to kind of forget, oh, it's in my pocket. A little bit of kind of superficial damage, but put together as well. So, and then obviously we have what I've kind of settled on, which is, I guess, yeah, the Extrema Ratio, and got a nice kind of feel to it. But yeah, just a little comparison of stuff I've carried in the past, so you guys can have a little idea of where I've been coming from and what kind of been looking for. So yeah, definitely like the blade profile, as I said. The Spyderco, nice knives, but I don't think that belly is very good for a good EDC use knife. One of the things I'm always interested in when I'm looking at a knife is how it sits in the pocket. And this maybe seems silly, but obviously the BF1 has a nice black clip, easy for me to access, pull out, sturdy, so it's not coming out easily. That's a nice feature. It's not going to clip off, it feels very solid. If I sit down, it's not going to slip out. It's also black. I like that. I think it's much better to pull it out, access it, super easy. But the black is nice because here's the Spyderco from earlier. It's a little more showy. People are going to notice that a little more often. So if you're interested in being a little more subtle, or if you're maybe in a non-permissive environment, then something like this with the black is, I think, a little less obvious. Slips around to the side, sits there really well. So yeah, I think that's an important consideration to have when you're actually looking at the knife to carry and how this pocket clip works. In this case, another thing to add about the pocket clip is you can see it is reversible. So if you're a lefty, you're in luck. Pretty standard torque screws. Probably, I don't know what those would be. T6, I'm not sure. I'll have to check that for you guys. But yeah, there you go. Alright, let's look at some other cutting tasks more likely to run into using your EDC. So got it open, let's just kind of see how it goes through the paracord. So super easy, cuts it really nicely. Again, the knife came really well sharpened, and you can see it's a really nice blade, so just kind of slicing through that easily. Rubber, something else you might occasionally cut, a little bit tougher. Again, comes through really nicely. So deals with those with ease. Let's have another look at a common EDC tool. We'll go with cutting through cardboard, so just driving it in, slicing it across, comes through really easily. It's definitely strong, able to just kind of slice down straight through. Blade seems fine, still seems pretty strong. So yeah, for general tasks it seems to accomplish those two things, and I would say that's what most people do with their EDC. You're cutting maybe paracord, or you're cutting open something, or you're lending it to someone else to cut something. So definitely works pretty well as far as they go. Something else I want to discuss when you're thinking about a pocket knife is, I guess, defensive capabilities. So as I showed you with the Fairbairn, pretty easy to do that, get it out. I can do that under pressure in a fight weapon access situation. I'm not sure, that's debatable, however your training works and stuff. But when it comes to this knife, obviously, drawing it out, using it as an impact weapon is probably more likely, especially considering how stiff this is. So that's something to consider. Obviously, if I'm drawing it out from my pocket like so and getting a grip on it, even if I don't have time to draw, that's going to be a pretty good impact point. So that's not going to mess up someone's day. Essentially it would function as a fist load if you did get your hands around it and you were punching someone. It's going to lend more force to your blows. So that's just something to consider. It's definitely not like an easy flick open. We'll have a go at loosening this, but I don't think that's going to make a huge difference. And if it does, even then, pushing it out, those flippers, I think if you can get that accessed and rip it round and start striking, maybe from a position of control, you would be in a good stead. But yeah, just something to consider if people are interested from a self-defense point of view. I would say this knife does not really fit that criteria. But obviously, if you had it out and open, yeah, it's got a good solid grip. You can get a good meaty grip around it, and then obviously use point-driven techniques to do what you want. So just another thing to consider when you're looking at purchasing knives. So time to have a little look at how we can maybe loosen this joint, make it a little easier to open. To be honest, I've been carrying it the last couple of days and I am able to, yeah, that wasn't a great one, but already it's loosened up a little bit, so you can kind of get a better flick on, but as you see, still not perfect. So let's just have a little look at this. See if I can see if this makes a difference firstly. While I'm doing this, one of the things to note, looks a little bit looser. I can just, there you go. So you can kind of start to get a flick. I would say use this over the last couple of days. So you kind of seen a review over a couple of days. And one thing to point out is, the anode, this kind of black, and you can see it is starting to kind of scratch through. So that matters to some people. Doesn't particularly matter to me on the blade as well a little bit. And this is just from regular use, day-to-day use. So I think that's something to keep in mind. I paid $128 $5 out the door for this. From KnifeWorks, it was on a sale. I think it's a pretty good price. This is my kind of first high-end folder. I mean, I guess the Almar kind of counts as well, but a little more sturdy. Great build quality. The black I think looks nice, but you know, we'll do a follow-up review later, maybe some months from now. Carrying this every day. Let's see how it marks. Let's see what happens to it. But overall, I think it's a good knife. I hope it's been helpful to you guys. There it is. Just for a last point, scale. There's a really unfolded dollar. So there's your scale. Just so everyone is aware of that. And yeah, that's really all I have to say about this knife. You know, thanks for watching. I'm trying to make these reviews better, so if you have anything that you would like to see or anything else, then let me know and I'll try and do that. Again, thanks for watching, guys. Bye.